Hi there and welcome to my channel. Today's project is part of the January 2019 blog hub for Altenew as they are releasing a new set of stamps, dies, and stencil, and these are gorgeous. The stamp that you're going to see and the stamp and die set that you're going to see being used on this layout is called Wonderland, and it's gorgeous. I think it's the first thing I reached for when I got the catalog for January. And I got the stamp and the die. You're going to see me super simple to use. So all I'm going to do right now is I'm going to use marshmallow cardstock from Basso to stamp all the images. And I'm going to use archival ink because I know I'm going to use some type of mixed media to actually detail these flowers. So you're going to see right now, all I'm doing is just using my little platform to stamp all the images at once. And it took more than one, it took actually 2 applications of ink to get the stamps all in place. And I'm going to take it off camera because super simple to stamp. And like I said, I stamp all the images at least, I'm going to say at least 3 times each image, just to make sure that I keep it safe. Now, once I had everything stamped out, I'm going to go ahead and use the die. Again, because it's pretty much a straightforward application of ink and the die, you have a die that corresponds to each one of the images. It's super simple to cut. Because of the way I stamped all the images, I'm going to have to cut piece by piece to die cut it, and I have no issue with that. Now, once I have all the images cut out, I went into my little swatching book to get all the inks from Altenew. And because the picture of my goddaughter has a lot of coral, she's wearing a coral pink shirt, I'm going to pull a few of those colors, but I'm going to pull them kind of, I have the little mini cubes, so come in a sequence, and I'm going to use them to actually detail the flowers. So my first thought was to just create watercolor by stamping the ink on my mat and then just smooshing the flower in it, but I didn't like the look of it. So all I'm going to do then is I'm going to actually stamp the ink onto my craft mat, then add a little bit of water, and then just kind of will give it a wash to the entire flower. Since it's a very fanciful flower, there's so much you can do. So all I'm going to do is add a little bit of a wash to the entire flower. I'm going to use the sun-kissed, the spray, the metallic spray from Altenew to just add the scent to bring the yellow of the pollen of the flower. And then I'm going to use the next color of the ink. I'm using red Cosmo, I think, in this case, just to create a little bit of shading in between the petals. Nothing very detailed. Like I said, a simple wash of the color. And then I'm just going to bring a little bit of detail to the petals. You're going to see that I did this pretty much all the flowers, and then I use moss and parrot ink from the little cubes to create the little stem. Super simple. It didn't take a long time to create, but because there's so many of them, I take it off camera to work all of them. Now, while the flowers were drying, I went into my little silhouette library, and I say little because I have a lot of cut files, and I put this cut file that say CHERISH, and this is my goddaughter. Unfortunately, she lives in Ecuador, so we don't get to see her that often. We see her pretty much every other day on Facebook, or we're always talking over the phone, but we don't get to see her in person. In the summer, they were here to spend some time with us. I spent like 3 weeks, and I have tons of pictures from that. This is one of them. So all we're going to do is, like I said, I pull out a cut file. This is CHERISH, and then I'm going to actually back it with the paper from the reflection skin. And I picked this paper because I chose the same color of green to detail the stems, and I think it's going to bring the color of the shade. It's just going to complement the colors of the layout. Now, the way I went to back out this cut file, because the lines are so fine, is I did not glue it all at once. All I did is start gluing it by sections, and I used the negative part of the letters just to make sure that the lines keep straight. Once I had everything glued, I'm going to go ahead and bring my X-Acto knife just to detail some of the edges, because it's hard to cut in the middle in between the letters. And if you see my work, you know that I'm very careful when it comes to that. I like my cut files to be bagged with making sure that the empty spaces remain empty. Now, to create the layout, I did not want to use white as a background. I thought it was going to be, I wanted something a little bit softer, something a bit more playful. So I reached from this is called vanilla cardstock, and it's kind of a very light yellowish tone to it. So all I'm doing right now is kind of building what I have in mind for this layout. And I wanted something that cascaded. I wanted to create a triangle a lot of movement to this layout. So that's why I reached for the long stems to put them behind the picture. My idea was to have the flower coming out of the title around the picture, just to create movement, to bring your eye throughout the page. So now that I have an idea pretty much how everything is gonna sit, I'm gonna go ahead and bring a little bit of more color to the background. I wanted to create kind of a shadow where everything is gonna lay. So I went and reached for my Bicky Boutin art crayons, and I love this because I can ink the background without having to wait for anything to dry. So all I do is scribble the art crayon on my craft mat and then pick it up with the stencil brush, and then I'm using the Altenew's wavy grid as stencil just to create a little bit of interest to the background. Now, you're going to see that I'm very careful not to reach the edges of the stencil. I don't want to have the straight lines. I want to keep it very kind of wavy, very uneven on the background. I don't want anything even because I think there's going to be a lot of playfulness. You're not going to see a lot of what I'm adding. It's going to help me create the shadow and help me pop some of the images, the title, the flowers, which is what I'm looking for. So you're going to see super simple, nothing complicated. I'm just kind of transferring the pigment from the mat onto the page by using the stencil brush in a circular motion. And that's pretty much it. Since it's a dry application, it takes no time. I can go straight into building the layout. Now to frame the picture and to have it popped, I'm using one of the papers from the reflection kit, and it's the one that has these big swatches of red and pink and coral watercolor. So I cut the piece that had a lot of coral in it, and I'm back in the picture, and I think it's gonna make it stand out a little bit more. So once I had everything, backed and ready, I used a little bit of foam adhesive behind the picture, behind the title first, and attach it to the layout. And then I'm gonna nestle the picture in between some of the letters, and then I'm gonna go ahead and start building, pretty much finishing my layout. So what I did off camera is, since I had an idea where everything was gonna go, I cut some of the long stems of the flowers because I don't want to be lifting the card file. I want to have it ready. And all I'm gonna do is, you're gonna see that I'm gonna start playing with some foam adhesive and glue. My idea is to have movement on the layout, have dimension. And for this, I am gonna make sure that some of these stems are glued straight onto the layout and just use the foam adhesive behind the petals. So it's gonna create a little bit of movement. It's gonna make it a little bit more realistic, which is what I think it needs. I don't want it to be flat. And you're going to see that I'm also going to work with the sizes. So I'm going to go with the smaller bud at the bottom, the base of the layout. So I'm adding a small cluster to the bottom of the H. And you're going to see me that I also add them to the bottom of the C after. And then I'm going to use the long stems and the bigger flowers to create, I'm going to say, the bigger cluster or the bigger movement that I see on the layout. I just always think about it that the bigger flowers, the ones that open, are the ones that are higher. And then it kind of, there's like kind of a cycle to flowers, so I'm gonna try to bring it onto the layout too. Super simple, like I said. It took no time to put it together because I already had a mind. I had built it ahead of time, and you're gonna see that, like I said, I'm using some foam adhesive just to give it some movement and some glue just to keep it in place to make sure that there's a little bit of movement. And that's pretty much it. You're gonna see how I bring small clusters onto the borders of the cut file of the title in this case. Once I have that in place, I have the wood stickers that come in the Our Family kit. So I'm adding a little bit of the hearts, and especially where the clusters of the flowers are. And then I'm going to bring the enamel dots from Altenew just to add a few more pops of that green into some place into the clusters. That's just going to bring the pink. It's going to bring a little bit of playfulness to the layout. Now, I did not want to bring lots of decorations to this page. I think the flowers are the star of this layout along with my goddaughter. So what I'm going to do is bring a sticker and an enamel dot, a heart, from my stash. And then I'm going to complete the title by stamping one of the sentiments that comes in the stamp set that says, "You light up our day." Pretty much what this kid does in our lives. After that, I'm going to add the title when the picture was taken, which was last summer, and then just add a few lines of journal at the bottom about how much we love her. And that's pretty much it. Super simple. I love how this turned out. I love that stamp. It's a must in your stash. Trust me, you're going to reach for it a long time. Don't forget to join in the hub. Just look for the comment section for a link onto my blog so you can, see more inspiration of more designers, and then have a chance to win a gift certificate. Thank you so much for joining me, and I hope to see you soon. Don't forget to check out Altenew and all the releases. Take care, guys.